Hi everyone, it's Gena Mayo and I am from Music in Our Homeschool. I would love to talk to you today about my experiences with homeschooling my high schoolers. So far, I've graduated my three oldest from high school, two of whom were homeschooled all the way through. And starting this fall, I'll have the next three in our homeschool high school. Today, I'd like to share about homeschooling high school from my own experience, my best tips, curriculum recommendations, and advice. I started homeschooling my first child for kindergarten way back in 2005. By 2012, I had 8 children, and I've homeschooled all of them the entire time, except for my oldest son, who did his last 3 years of high school at the public school. In 2019, my second child graduated from our homeschool high school, and this year, my third child did. All three got into the colleges of their choice and received scholarships, so I know we did something right. Let me tell you about how I started our homeschool high school planning. The first thing I did was learn about credits and transcripts. And next, I researched our state homeschool laws to see what was required. I live in Illinois, and they aren't too specific with their requirements, especially for homeschoolers. And third, I checked with the websites of our local public school, the small Christian pre-K through high school, private school, which is in the town next town over, and the large college prep Catholic private high school, which is in my town, and to see what their high school graduation requirements were. For example, how many credits of English, science, math, foreign language did they require? How many of physical education and other electives? Then I took those lists and sat down to write out a suggested plan for my kids. After I had a basic plan written out, I put all the information into the transcript software that I use. I actually use what's called fasttranscripts.com. And what I really like about this site is that I could create a transcript for all of my kids at the beginning of their high school years. And it's so easy to just switch it out if they change a class or they drop one. And on the side, it lists the basic requirements for what they call general high school, general college prep, and rigorous college prep. I use general college prep for most of my kids. The general high school I used for my daughter, who's doing cosmetology at the Tech campus. That's a high school vocational school in my area. She'll graduate homeschool high school ready to take her test for a cosmetology license and won't be going to college. Next, after I had this plan written out, before I actually purchase the curriculum or the courses for the year, I sit down and talk with my high schoolers about their goals and what they would prefer to take the next year. For example, this year I asked my soon-to-be 10th grader if he'd rather take chemistry or marine biology this next year. And I talked to my 9th grader to see if she would prefer a live teaching class for Algebra 1 or self-paced. There are always elective slots available for the high schoolers, and I want them to start exploring different classes to help them grow and discover their interests. So we always have these ideas, and I let them put as much planning into it as they can. But other times I make the decisions for them. For example, for several years, we were part of a homeschool co-op, and the classes being taught there were usually determined what my kids would take. There were classes like advanced biology or government, personal finance being taught, and because those were being taught, I had my kids take those classes those semesters. There are times when I want 2 of my high schoolers to be doing a class together to make it simpler for me and so that they can work together. And also I know that there are times when an actual live class is better to do. So even though a few of my introvert kids would prefer not to interact in an in-person class or a live online class, I have required it for certain subjects such as Spanish and biology. In our area, the local public school allows homeschool students to take certain classes, even though they are not going there full time and won't be receiving a diploma from the high school. This is something that you will have to research in your area and see, because every district, even every school, is different. I've even heard that one year, if you have a certain principal who allows it or doesn't allow it, and the next year the principal changes, that could change too. So you'll just have to research that in your area and see if that is a possibility. I have a friend in my neighborhood whose kids took band at the local high school, and my second son did 2 classes each semester for his junior year. He took some hands-on classes that I couldn't easily teach him at home, and I wanted him to have the materials and resources to use because his goals included studying mechanical engineering in college, which he does right now. That year, his junior year of Homeschool High School, he took physics, woodworking, and graphic design at the public school. He loved what he learned in the classes and getting to use those materials, and he's still applying some of what he learned in his college and personal endeavors. But being at the public school that one year helped him decide that he did not want to go back his senior year. His senior year, he decided to take some classes at the local community college instead, chemistry and pre-calculus. And I'm really happy about this dual enrollment that he did that year because I think it helped prepare him for college. He was able to see how a college class is different in terms of the speed in which it's taught. For example, you do chemistry in 1 semester rather than a whole year, as you would do in a regular high school class. And he realized how much more organized he needed to be and how much studying is required. My oldest daughter, who just graduated, did her entire year for senior year, except for dance and piano at the community college. What's really neat is that it counts for both high school and college credit, and a 1 semester class at the community college provides a full credit course for the high school transcript. So she was able to get extra credits, which I believe helped her get accepted into the honors program at the college that she will attend this fall. And that was one of her goals. Again, I know that this experience prepared her for her freshman year of college, since she learned a lot about seeking help through on-campus tutoring, seeing the professors for office hours, and how to take notes in class and study better. One thing I love about homeschooling high school is that you can design your own electives. After my second son took a semester of graphic design at the public school, he wanted to continue growing his design skills on his own during his senior year. I took what I learned about how many hours are required for a high school credit and told him to just keep working on his designs and track his hours. He received a half credit for that elective his senior year. And he uses the skills to make money now while he's in college by providing commissioned t-shirt designs for an online store that a friend of his runs. I mentioned earlier that my 4th child does not have college as a goal. Years ago, she mentioned that she wanted to become a nail tech, so we planned to send her to cosmetology school upon graduating the homeschool high school. But then we discovered that our local tech campus, which is a vocational school for high schoolers located next to the community college, provides cosmetology as an option. It teaches the exact state mandated curriculum that the cosmetology schools in Illinois teach, but because it's through the public school system, it's basically free. So not only will she be graduating high school with the hours that she'll need to take the licensing exam, she'll be doing it in 2 years early and saving $10,000 to $20,000. I know things are changing as far as colleges requiring the SAT and ACT tests for admission. But as I've discovered with my daughter applying to colleges this year, many are still requiring test scores for earning an academic scholarship. I've had my kids start out by taking a free test through our library, which is sponsored by a testing tutoring center in the area. After taking the test, the tutoring center provides a free consultation and explains the results and gives recommendations for which test would be better, ACT or SAT for that particular child, so that they could just focus on one and study for that one, and which subject areas or skills they need to improve in. There are online apps and resources, such as those through Khan Academy, as well as testing workbooks that kids can use to improve their skills. You also may want to have them take a workshop or a class or a course. All three of my kids got a decent score and earned an academic scholarship. My next tip is to visit colleges in person, if at all possible. It's amazing what a student can learn just by stepping onto the campus, walking into the buildings, dorms, classrooms, and dining rooms, and meeting some of the students and professors. Often the student will be able to tell soon after leaving whether it's a place they see themselves at or not. It really helps them narrow down the choices. We did quite a few college visits with my oldest sons after their junior year of high school. Unfortunately, we couldn't do it during the summers of 2020 and 2021 with my oldest daughter. She did a lot more virtual tours, and I will say that these have greatly improved in the last couple of years prior to how they used to have virtual tours in the past. So if you can't visit in person, be sure to at least do a virtual tour. How to pay for college? Well, we don't allow our kids to take out loans. We tell them how much we're willing to pay each year, and they have to pay the balance by choosing an affordable school, earning scholarships, and if needed, paying for it by themselves through a job. I believe that having them put so much of their own effort into paying, whether it's actually cash that they've earned or through applying for and being awarded scholarships, they're much more willing to do the necessary, what is necessary to excel in their college work. My final thoughts. Homeschooling high school has been a joy for the 5 years that I've done it so far. I'd love to see my homeschooled high schoolers varying interests and help them find a way to meet their goals. I love to help them discover their interests and begin to grow in their skills. Kids grow and move away, but homeschooling them has helped me get to know them better and have a good relationship with them. And what could be better than that? If you'd like to know more about how to prepare the summer before the homeschooled high schoolers senior year, you can see a post I wrote at ichoosejoy.org/prepare senior year. And I run music in our homeschool, and I have high school credit courses in music appreciation, advanced music theory, and beginning singing. And you can see all of those courses at learn.musicinourhomeschool.com. Bye-bye.